talk about all the things that I wanna talk about. We'll just keep talking. We'll just keep talking. Just keep talking. Talking. For so long. Ow! We're babbling on. We're babbling
Wait, then the other one is like do 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 do.
Oh wait, which one are you doing? Okay, so welcome to Babbling On, listeners, and I'm here today with among the most special people I've ever met, and we needed to bring her on for the most important topic we've covered as of yet on this show. We're recording, right?
We are recording.
Okay, yes. Please welcome my former colleague and current friend and noted Harry Potter, spoiler alert, historian, Rose Dommu, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. Hello.
Hey.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my privilege to welcome you to Babbling On Industries.
It is so good to be here to talk about something that we both love more than we should, considering the circumstances.
There's context that maybe is important to address up top. Just to get it out of the way, what are you babbling on about today, Rose?
We're babbling on about Harry Potter and the
Sorcerer's Stone,
aka Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
So that, let's just get into that right away. The British version was Philosophers, the American was Sorcerers, and this gets into the author who shall not be named, although let's name her J.K. Rowling, is an obsessive of alliteration, and Sorcerer's Stone works so well as an SS. You know what I'm saying?
Sibilant.
Yeah, sibilant.
But I believe when the decision was made, I mean, I think I remember this from my early days of Harry Potter love, that it was because the American publisher thought that Philosopher's Stone would turn kids off from wanting to read it.
Which, low key, I get it.
Yeah, I do.
Philosopher's Stone sounds nauseatingly boring.
Yeah, Sorcerer's Stone really hammers home the magic of it all.
But it's so strange to think that Britain, where this all originates in, with Joanna Kooky Rowling, they're considering it Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah,
they're calling it that to this day.
I know. I was wondering when we were watching the movie the other night if in the UK, did they do multiple takes when they were filming the movie where they say Philosopher's Stone?
Oh yeah, wait. Is the British version them saying Philosopher's?
I don't know. I feel like it might have, because the movie was, an American production.
Oh, it was?
Right. It's a Hollywood movie.
Wait, what? I
right?
thought it was British.
I mean, it's in Britain, but it's a Hollywood movie.
Oh, damn. I actually didn't do the research to back that. Well, Chris Columbus is American director. Yeah, actually. And I do feel like when I was looking up the box office, which, to give you that stat quickly, I guess I don't have it written, but it made 1.024 billion gross on I think $125 million budget.
Money well spent.
Yeah. So they made their money back. Let's just put it that way.
Many times over.
Let's just put it that way.
If there's one thing about Harry Potter, is that it is profitable.
Well, which I have to say too up front, okay, so up front, Harry Potter is the most important cultural artifact that has ever come across my desk. This is my number one priority in life, is Harry Potter. And obviously there's issues with J.K. Rowling that we need to get into, but I'm an art from artist separator. And anyway, what I'm trying to get at is my obsession with the box office and the profit. And then as a kid, I was really invested in Harry Potter needs to make as much money as possible.
You were the Twitter accounts that do all the charts for all the pop girls.
Yeah,
Harry Potter charts.
Well, and then we did a Twilight episode a few weeks ago, and I was talking about how I hated Twilight because it was seen as some sort of threat to Harry Potter's records and box office. So I don't know if you were clocked in to the numbers in the same way as me.
No, I was more clocked into the experience.
Yeah.
I was there for the magic.
Were you in the books? At what book were you on board, like waiting for the release of the next?
I was there from the beginning.
Holy shit.
I received the first book as a Passover gift from my Aunt Roz, who my family no longer talks to. She is estranged.
Then I don't feel bad saying Roz from Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, that is kind of her vibe. But it was just after the book had been released in the US. So I was in like elementary school. So I was an early adopter.
So Roz was on top of the cultural pulse.
She was, but I also feel like she probably just like saw it in the airport and bought it.
It was
She
like,
was
oh,
I
a
gotta give this kid
broomstick.
a gift. And yeah, so I
You
then
were grip
all
hooked
the,
from
all
day
the
one.
subsequent books I read as they were released.
Wow. So what grade were you then? Not to age you.
I think I was in. Well, I'm older than you.
I'm a little bit older than you
you.
girls.
That's me. I am.
You're Samantha, which we didn't cover the 8 yet.
Oh,
Like, sorry, quickly, the 8. Who are you today?
I guess I'm the Samantha.
Yeah, and I'm low-key the Miranda because I take this like so seriously,
Yeah.
Harry Potter. And then in the Harry Potter 8, like who are you in Harry Potter?
Well, who are the 8 of the Harry Potter 8?
Let's come back to that after
Okay.
you. Yeah,
Okay. So, what were we?
Roz. So you were
Oh
invested.
yeah. So I then read all the books as they came out.
Okay,
you
wow.
know?
And
This
you were
was my-
fully. You might not have heard my little joke I made earlier, which is you were grip hooked from the beginning.
I was grip hooked. And we'll come back to grip hook.
Of course, she's the topic of the day. That
Yeah, because
grip
I
hook.
also was like, as they were being released, at least for the first few books when there wasn't such a major time lapse between them coming out, I was kind of Harry's age as they were coming out.
Wow.
Like I think the 4th book came out the summer I turned 13, so it was like just around there.
Okay, yeah. So just to give my own context then, I remember playing like in the backyard of the school, Milwaukee Montessori, like I was like 11, so at whatever grade that is. And this girl who I was friends with was like, okay, I'm going to be Sirius Black and you're going to be like someone. And she's like, Sirius Black is a dog. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? But then I ended up like getting to hear of the books through her. And by the time I got to the books, the first 4 were already published. And I ripped through all 4 of them. And it like,
Speed through them.
I
You
sped
didn't have
through
to
them.
wait.
No, and it gave me my love of reading, and it really is like, all jokes aside, like the most impactful like thing that I have ever consumed as a cultural thing that has defined my life. Because of that, I started writing fantasy novels. I started to read voraciously, and it just really shaped me. I'm Harry Potter is so important to me, and I love it so much.
And that's why it's such a bummer that it's was created by such a horrible person.
So I think we should address that up front before we go into the nuts and bolts of Sorcerer's Stone.
Before we spend like an hour talking about how much we love it, let's talk about how
Right.
the person who created it is evil
Yeah.
and stupid.
A monster
A
and a
monster.
disgusting, like, transphobe and demon and idiot.
Like she
And
was,
misogynist in a way.
she recently spoke at something where she was like leading a chant saying lesbians don't have penises. And it's like, that's what she's decided to do with her life, is be the person who chants
It's so
lesbians don't have
sad.
penises. Like
It's so sad, and it's
so
baffling.
lame and baffling.
Well, okay. So, lore-wise, regarding J.K. Rowling, who is the author of the Harry Potter books, like, we all remember the original lore before she went off the deep end, where it was like, J.K. Rowling was living, like, on the sidewalk and had 2 kids who were starving and wrote Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on a napkin in a local
which I
pub.
don't believe.
I low-key still believe in the
I think a
napkin.
publicist came up with that.
A publicist invented the
Did you know
napkin.
that there's like a Lifetime movie about J.K. Rowling's life?
What?
Yeah.
If that napkin is for sale...
You're buying it?
No, I can't afford it. But imagine if that napkin were for sale.
I wouldn't want it.
Well, okay, so then the other thing is, after the Harry Potter books are coming out, there's some interview or something where J.K. Rowling reveals, like, oh yeah, Dumbledore's gay. Like, didn't you know? Even though he's in the books not ever described as gay. Although you can kind of read into the Grindelwald as he is
my
gay.
gaydar was...
But so
looping.
everyone for a while before things fell off, the whole thing was like, oh my god, J.K. Rowling's amazing. Like, she said Dumbledore's gay.
Oh my god, like woke queen.
Yeah.
But then you realize that she never put it in the books. She only said it after the fact in a way that was
to like get clout or
yeah,
whatever.
it was like very much like engineered to make her look, progressive.
Yeah.
And she has always presented herself as really progressive. Like, she's always talked about these books as like, like an allegory for standing up against fascism, and
which they totally are. I mean, that's true. That's not PR. Like, the books are basically an allegory for all sorts of oppression systems, like the Holocaust even. Like, I mean, you can kind of make that parallel with like the Death Eaters being Nazis.
But it's very flawed, and you look at the ways in which those parallels have been abstracted. Like, it is really like weird that you can buy a t-shirt with the dark mark on it, which is essentially like
a swastika.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, and
that is true. It's been commodified in this way that like numbs you to the reality of like the Death Eaters in Voldemort were racist, homophobic, transphobic. I mean, in this case, it's about them being muggles or not, but like you can basically make that leap very easily.
Yeah, and this is a person who created this entire fantasy world and still decided to not make it some kind of like utopia where magic would solve all these issues, but like migrated all of our like pre-existing societal hangups into them.
Yeah.
And it's also like rife with just like the grossest like consumerist ideology possible. I don't think there's any series, any franchise that is more predisposed to buying stuff than Harry Potter. There's actually this really good video essay on YouTube by this person, Verily Bitchy, about the like consumerist dystopia of Harry Potter that I highly recommend
I'll
watching.
check that out. I mean, it's so true. I mean, the amount of money I've lost to the Harry Potter.
Because I said this when we were watching the movie the other night. The first place Harry goes in the Wizarding World is a mall. A strip mall.
Diagon Alley. And then a bank.
And then a bank, yeah.
No, it's so true. And like, we've both had the privilege of attending Harry Potter Wizarding World in Florida.
Yes.
Or actually mine, I went in California.
I've gone to both.
Okay. And I've done the studio tour in London. I've seen the play, which is 2 plays, so 4 acts. You've seen The Cursed Child, which is not really canon in my books.
No.
I've bought merch. I've bought DVDs, like I've probably spent easily more than $1,000 on Harry Potter.
Oh, easily.
And like, I'm a pretty cheap bitch.
I used to have Harry Potter tattoos. I have since had them covered up.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What did you have?
I had the Deathly Hallows symbol. And I had
a book. So it's like that.
It's like that, yeah.
What did you cover it into?
It's just a black
No, it's a black triangle.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
then I had a book that said Hogwarts: A History on the cover.
Oh, that's my whore. Holy fuck. And now what does it say?
It's just a heart is covering the title. So it's a book with a heart on the cover.
Heart. So, because basically, for anyone who's misinformed, J.K. Rowling fell from grace when she went in a really alt-right, transphobic, like, violently anti-trans direction and basically, like, ripped apart, like, the very idea of trans people existing. And it's heartbreaking. It's disgusting. It's like one of the saddest things that
it is sad, because you can see very clearly how she fell down the path. Like, it started out with her liking questionable tweets, and as often happens with people who are radicalized, like the more that they face judgment from progressive people, the further they
back into the corner.
They back it into the corner, because the only people that they're getting support from are the people who are like who have the same
Backing
beliefs
them
as
up.
them.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they get further and further radicalized until it's the only option they have. But, you know, it's hard to feel bad for her because she's a billionaire.
Right. But then the other interesting thing of it all is like, I feel like I always hear, oh, there's progressives or what have you who are trying to reach out and say like, let's have a conversation so I can help you to understand like how you're misinformed. And she's just so far down the path she's gone that she's like, there's no hope. Like she refuses.
Yeah, she's gone.
She won't talk. Like it's over. Like it's ended regarding Joanna. What's her middle name? Kansas? Catherine.
I think.
Damn, sucks to be a Joanne or a Catherine these days.
The whole J.K. Rowling of it all, like just the name,
Which is all about like so that they wouldn't know she's a woman. Is that
Yeah.
RT? Okay.
and I definitely thought it was written by a man when I first read it, which is my own bias, and I'm owning
I
up to
can't
that.
say if I had a predilection of who I thought, but I know that I was revering it all.
I mean, the cover of the first book
Oh
is
my
so iconic.
I've been looking at it a lot these past few days because we both chose to listen to the audiobook to refresh ourselves for
Yes,
this.
although we listened to different versions.
Oh, you didn't do Jim Dale?
I listened to Stephen Fry.
Okay, and he's an actor who is in like a ton of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Is
he's gay.
Jim and he's gay.
And he's gay. I mean, he's blind.
Or the other video where it's like, and it was so hard. Is Jim Dale an actor too? Do you know?
I don't know.
My audiobook voice is Jim Dale, who we're going to get into because he makes some really interesting pronunciation choices throughout Sorcerer's Stone. But you had Stephen.
I had Steven. It was a very enjoyable experience. I didn't like how he pronounced some things. Like, he pronounces Draco Malfoy as Draco Malfoy.
I knew that would happen. And Jim Dale pronounces Firenze. And wait, what's the other one? Okay, so Bezoar, which is, for those who are woefully miseducated, the stone you find in the stomach of a goat that can cure most poisons. Instead of Bezoar, he says, oh wait, how does he say it? He's like, Bajwa. Like, Jim, are you gay? Jim, are you gay or trans? Or none of the above?
Do you think J.K. Rowling is trans?
Yeah. I think she transitioned at an early age. She's a trans woman. She's actually, before Kim Petras, she was younger than Kim.
She's just fully stealth.
And she's like, she's doing this whole thing to help cover up any... She sucks. But this is not something everyone will agree with, but I basically decided at some point in my life that I'm like, art from artist separation is my path, because I also like still really love a lot of Woody Allen movies, for example, and I don't support that doll in his work.
Yeah, the place I kind of came to with it is that it's just been such a big part of my life that there's no way to untangle myself from it. I try not to talk about it like publicly, although we are now recording a podcast episode about it.
Yeah, which thank you for stepping out and giving the words to the people.
But I also try not to spend any money on Harry Potter.
Well, that's impossible.
It's impossible.
I need to go buy a t-shirt.
I know. Last year I bought the Harry Potter Nintendo Switch game, Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, fuck. Oh, wait, not the PS5 one, though.
No.
Okay.
Oh, no, it was PS5.
And it's where you can, like,
out.
explore the Wizarding World.
You're a student at Hogwarts.
And it's, like, 1752 or something. It's a
like,
period piece, isn't it?
Yeah, it's, like, the late 1800s, I want to say.
I almost got to play that because I had a boyfriend who had a PlayStation 5 who wanted to buy it, but then he broke up with me before I ever got the chance.
Sad. It's really fun. There is a canon trans character in it.
What?
And
Wait, what?
Yeah, and
Grip Hook.
No, No, they're like the bar wench at the Three Broomsticks.
Wait,
and
you
they're-
mean the girl from Shrek 2?
Yeah. Yes. Trans icon. And the trans woman's name, I'm not kidding you, her name is Sirona. Sirona.
So Joanna K. Rowling didn't have a hand in the PS5 game.
Her name might as well have been
Transvona.
Tranny
Lapvona.
McMahon.
Tranny McManaman. Esquire.
Tranny McPenis Haver.
I want to be a bar wench, but bars won't hire me. I keep spilling things on people.
Yeah,
I worked at a
that
restaurant
could
and I
be a
spilled
problem.
seltzer on a girl's laptop.
Yikes.
Okay, wait, what was I gonna ask you regarding whatever, I lost my train of thought. So Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Just that I want an oversized like XXL black t-shirt with the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone movie poster on it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the next chapter in my book.
Yeah, you can find that easily.
Yeah, in fact. Okay, so other broad context stuff we need to address. Who's the 8 of Harry Potter?
Well, okay. So Harry, Ron, Hermione,
Yeah. McGonagall, Dumbledore,
McGonagall, Dumbledore,
Snape,
Malfoy,
and Rita Skeeter.
Rita Skeeter. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So who would they translate to as girls in Sex and the City?
Okay, Hermione is Miranda.
Yeah. Dumbledore is Carrie.
Yeah.
McGonagall is...
Marnie?
No, like
No.
Draco is Marnie.
Draco's Marnie. Rita Skeeter is Samantha.
Yeah. Okay. Who did we... Ron can be like... Shosh?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Ron can be Hannah.
Okay.
Who do we still have? McGonagall and Snape.
Harry.
McGonagall, Harry, and Snape need to
Uh-huh.
be cast.
Snape is Jessa.
Snape, Jessa. That means McGonagall's gonna be Charlotte.
Okay.
And Harry is... Who's left? Now Marnie? Or was that Draco?
That's Draco.
Harry is... Why is the numbers not adding up? Harry would be like...
Harry is Stanford.
Yeah, Harry's Stanford. Or Harry's like...
Harry's Elijah.
Harry's Elijah. Yeah. Or Harry's like the gay guy in the beach house episode who's like... Elijah goes, I fucked her. And he goes, you did.
Yeah.
So anyway, who would you be of the 8 based on those associations?
Rita Skeeter.
Yeah, and I guess that means I'm... Who did we say was Carrie? Hermione?
No, Dumbledore.
Oh yeah, I'm Dumbledore. Yeah. Okay, great.
Dumbledore as Carrie makes,
It makes
so much sense.
Well, and I'll just say chapter 1, The Boy Who Lived, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, let's fucking go, is such an interesting chapter. Because right now I'm in the book and then we'll get to the movie, but Dumbledore's wearing high heels. I want to be clear about that to match his half moon spectacles. Like, that is Carrie Bradshaw. And he has like jet blue sparkling robes. Like, Carrie would wear that and did wear that. And just like that, Susan, too.
And he's got a little Fendi baguette on his shoulder.
And he's smoking.
That's what
He's always smoking.
He smokes a pipe.
I think so. Yeah.
And he has his Deluminator.
Which,
Is stupid.
elephant in the room, like, he's pulling lights out of the street poles and then there's still some lights going and like nothing changes.
Nothing
And
changes.
It's like the most pointless.
No, in the movie, like, there's literally a
light
light
on the
right
front
behind
step.
him.
So I don't want people to be confused, but honestly, we don't really need to do much explaining because everyone knows Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about the first chapter, The Boy Who Lived, is that in the book, it starts with the first sentences of the whole series. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley were perfectly normal, thank you very much. Why do I feel like that's not correct? But That's what I wrote down. It's something like that.
No, that sounds right to me.
And so that is the first sentence of Harry Potter. And then the first chapter follows Vernon Dursley's perspective. And it's only towards the end of the chapter that Vernon like goes to sleep, and outside Dumbledore in her heels, Mrs. Bradshaw with her deluminator, and McGonagall as the rigid cat with the bespectacled markings around its furry eyes have their encounter. And are joined by Hagrid on a motorcycle with Harry.
Yeah, but that is something that does happen in several of the books, where the first chapter is from someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
Like in the 6th book when
yeah.
Fudge goes to visit the Muggle Prime Minister. That's a really good chapter.
And in 4, we start with
the caretaker.
Tom.
God. So good.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I hadn't actually put that together. Because also every book kind of does, at least in the first 4, which again are the 4 I came to before 5, 6, and 7 were midnight premiere things, is there's kind of a recap happening in the first like 50 to 70 pages of each that gets a little frustrating because you're like, girl, we know.
I know.
Like,
let's
we're
get
aware.
Moving. I also noticed that in the first book, something happens that doesn't happen in any of the subsequent books, where sometimes the point of view switches to another character. It only happens a couple times, and it's largely during the Quidditch matches. Like the whole part where Hermione sets Snape's robes on fire
with the bluebell flames.
It's like from a third person, like objective point of view.
Oh, that's
rather
interesting.
than from Harry's point of view, which all the books are from.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I guess also like the first book is the first book, you know?
Well, people are always like, I feel like a huge thing that people have said over the years is like, oh, you watch her grow as a writer over the 7 books. And TBH, that's true. Like, she did grow a lot, and also the voice completely changes. The first book this is not a new idea, but a children's book, and the 7th is an adult's book, and you kind of watch that gradient happen. And that really shifts in number 4 from kid to adult.
Jarringly, but also really deftly. And she is a good writer.
She's an amazing writer.
Like, I used to think that like God had channeled this story.
I mean,
through
of
her.
course, there's a reason that this is like the most successful book series / movie series in human history. It's like, it's an unbelievably well-crafted story with all the characters are so fleshed out, the world, and then like I'm getting chills thinking about it. Like, she tapped into this thing of like, when we were turning 11, everyone was praying the damn letter would come. We wanted it to be real. I'm still praying.
I made my own letter. I did the thing where you like stain paper with tea bags.
Oh, I did that on maps all my life.
And I wrote out my Hogwarts letter and put it in our mailbox, and then went and got it out.
See, like, I'm gonna cry. Like, she did give us that, and like now it's something that is given by the art gods rather than this fucking bitch who wants to erase us. But like, Harry Potter still is something we can get so much joy and hope and magic from.
I know, and we can also like the ways that I primarily engage with it now are ways that have nothing to do with her, like fan fiction.
Oh yeah, shit, you never sent me. Like, what was the hottest sex fanfic?
I mean, there's
what pairings do we get?
Well,
Harry Draco.
I'm a big Drarry shipper.
And who's topping? And how?
It depends from story to story.
What's the situation?
There's many situations. Anything you can think of, they've done.
I'm assuming, just to clear the air, like they are of age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't read any stories set while they're still at Hogwarts.
Okay,
Although I would say with Harry and Draco, a big hallmark of the genre is fan fictions where they go back to Hogwarts for 8th year after the events of the
because they're like, okay, this year got a little bit turned around.
Yeah, and that's when Harry and Draco fall in love and bond.
And who's topping? Or are they flipping?
I would say like most of the time Harry's topping.
That feels right.
But I kind
Draco
of like Harry as a bottom.
Me too. Do you like Harry? I feel like this is something.
I do like Harry.
Me too.
I think
he gets moody for a while.
He's really annoying in Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah. He gets really hung up on Cho Chang and the whole situation.
But I think he's like a good protagonist where you understand. I mean, he's been through a lot.
Of course, both his parents were killed.
And like every parental figure in his life has been murdered
And
brutally
then he's
in front of him.
threatened with murder 7 years in a row
Yes.
in the 7 years that the books cover.
And he's also like going to this school where even if you weren't like Harry Potter, your chances of dying or getting grievously injured are very high.
Well, it's like Dumbledore says in the opening remarks of when they arrive at Hogwarts, which we're jumping ahead, and I do want to walk through the journey to Hogwarts, but Dumbledore goes, this is his... so J.K. Rowling is so funny, and reading the first book, I was reminded of just how much humor is in it, because Dumbledore's opening remarks to the class, no one's ever met him before, is like, "Good evening. Anyone who does not wish to die a most painful death must avoid the third floor corridor." I botched that, but you get it.
I got it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Thanks. I really do like... Okay, here's one thing. This movie, so my parents were divorced. I used to go to my dad's house every other weekend. And and it was like difficult to be there a lot of the time. And the only way I could fall asleep was watching Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on loop over and over. So usually like 3 or 4 times before I fell asleep in a sleeping bag, watching it with my sister in a sleeping bag next to me. And a few years into doing that, my mom had to approach me and be like, "Your dad has come to me to tell me that you've been like pissing the sleeping bag every night." Anyway, so I know this movie word for word, and I want to demonstrate that.
Please do.
As we go. I'm hoping to pull that out my ass. We'll see if I'm able to do it.
Password, please.
Caput Draconis. You may enter. She doesn't say that. The fat lady.
And that's another beef that I have with J.K. Rowling is these books are so full of fat phobia.
There's some body shaming happening.
I mean, just like Dudley.
Yeah.
Like she really equates fatness with evil.
Totally.
And like laziness and greed and yeah, I mean, a lot of the characters who are bad are fat or are like, if they're women, they're like mannish. Like Rita Skeeter.
Yeah, that's true, actually, when you go back and think. Like, maybe there was transphobia laced in throughout.
There absolutely is. There's this scene that I will never forget in the 4th book when they're at the Quidditch World Cup. And there's a wizard there who's like wearing... he's like wearing muggle clothes. And he's worn a dress because he doesn't know. And he says something like... "Oh, I like a nice breeze around my privates." And Hermione starts laughing so hard she has to like walk away.
Which low-key, like, Hermione didn't do anything wrong there.
No, but also...
Hermione's God, by the way.
She is God.
But she shouldn't have laughed, actually.
But it just shows how these opinions have always...
Yeah, it's
existed.
not something that grew in her. Like, if you go back and look, you can see that she was... that way from the get-go.
It's like the worst thing a woman can do in Harry Potter is like have any sort of masculine characteristics, like anything like overtly feminine.
Yeah.
Or be not smart.
God, I love Hermione and McGonagall. They're my 2 favorite characters.
I love Hermione so much.
She's everything to me.
Hermione is the moment. She is the reason.
So we do need to discuss casting choices, but story-wise, Harry is living in a cupboard under the stairs. Some letters are coming through to him. A lot of letters to the point where it's like, girl, why couldn't you just grab one of those letters? Because the whole house is filled to the ceiling with them. These are from Dumbledore inviting Harry to Hogwarts.
And do you think anyone ever like came over to their house and were like, "What's up with the kid living
exactly
in the closet?"
It's like, so Vernon, no shade, but like, why is your nephew in a cupboard under the stairs?
Although in the movie it does look kind of roomy.
It looks cute. Yeah.
It's like you could definitely like rent that room in Bushwick right now
for $2,100 a month.
Maybe more.
Or more, depending on the landlord situation. And then we have Petunia, who's Harry's aunt, who is actually among my favorite characters.
She's sickening.
Yeah, so she's Lily Potter's sister. And I think maybe the most important line of the first film is Hagrid is visiting Harry, Vernon, Dudley, and Petunia on a rock with a hut on it where Vernon has dragged them to escape the letters. And Hagrid busts in, and this is like the scene that kicks off our lives and reveals to Harry that you're a wizard. And he's like, I'm a what? You're a wizard. And then it emerges that his parents didn't die in a car crash. They were murdered with a blast of green light. And Harry turns to his aunt and uncle and goes, you knew. And Petunia goes, of course we knew. How could we not? You're my perfect sister, being who she was. My mother and father were so proud of the days she got her letter.
We have a
witch
witch in the family.
Isn't it wonderful? I was the only one to see her for what she was.
A freak!
And then she met that Potter. And then she had you, and I knew you'd be just as strange, just as abnormal. And then, if you please, they went and got themselves blown up, and we got landed with you.
That was incredible.
Thanks.
And I think the next time you do any kind of film work, I think that should be the monologue you audition with.
You really think so?
I do.
It's so funny because I was just talking about how, like, in my heart, I know I'm a movie star and, like, I need to get going.
Yeah, that much
because
is
time
clear.
is ticking.
Yeah.
I'll use that as a monologue. I'll record that and post it to Grid,
think you
maybe,
should.
to promote the app.
Also, in that hut on the rock,
Mm-hmm.
Hagrid gives Dudley a pig's tail, which
Yes.
we later find out he gets removed. So canonically, Dudley gets bottom surgery.
Yeah, and gets an appendage removed from below the waist that is a long pink thing. So
Bottom surgery.
Dudley transitioned that day.
Dudley is trans.
Dudley's trans.
Yeah, D to D. Dudley to Dudley.
Back to back, D to D to D to D to you. One thing about that scene that when I was listening back to the audiobook and they're eating bags of potato chips and bananas for dinner on the hut, I remember thinking as a kid, like, that sounds so good. You know what I mean?
Well, all the food in
food.
this book is described in a way that makes me want to eat the book.
Well, because
so I
then
can
when
taste
Hagrid
it.
arrives and pulls some sausages out of his
Sausages and
pocket.
the birthday cake?
Yeah, honey. Don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said it like that. That was a mistake. And I take responsibility. J.K. Rowling, learn from this. The sausages, though, and the cake, the pink frosting, green icing, which, by the way, they adhere to basically every line of dialogue and even the colors. It's a really faithful adaptation from book to film, except for one interesting thing, which is the casting of Daniel Radcliffe, who has blue eyes, and in the books, it's emphasized that Harry has green eyes. And ultimately, I think Daniel is a great actor and fits the part so well that I'm glad they didn't do color context, because that would have been weird.
And I think he's, like, especially a great child actor. I think as the movies go on, there's some moments that are not as good. Like, in Prisoner of Azkaban, he was the friend. He
was the friend! Well, he starts drinking at some point on set, which is not tea.
But he's so good in this movie. Like, the scene that sticks out to me is the first night that they're at Hogwarts and everyone's asleep and he's sitting at the window petting Hedwig, and, like, you can just see how happy he is. Yeah. And it's, like, honestly kind of heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah, he looks out the window and then, like, there's another moment that when he wins Quidditch, and you just, like, when he's exuding joy, and, like, I'm getting full body chills, and I just shaved my legs for the first time in my life, and they're growing back in, and it's prickly, and so whenever I get like goosebumps, it's, like, really uncomfortable.
So sorry.
Point being, he's really good at exuding, like, the character comes from nothing. He's being, like, severely abused, and then he suddenly has a fortune, and he's the most famous person in the world, and he's going to Hogwarts,
and he's good at everything.
And so, like, when you see this, like, broken down little boy have a taste of, like, hope, he's really good at playing that note, I feel.
Yeah, because wasn't he discovered from, like, Oliver Twist or something? David Copperfield.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in like the David Copperfield movie. And
really? Well, because I remember also Draco, Tom Felton auditioned for the role of Harry Potter. That is something I know.
That's weird.
Yeah. I didn't actually, I should have read more about like how they cast, like how did they cast Ron and Hermione? I think it was just auditions, but I don't know.
Yeah, I do think they did like big open calls looking for kids.
So Emma Watson and Rupert Grint being two of the darlings of cinema.
And Emma Watson, I think in the early movies especially, is so good.
She's amazing.
Bushy
hair. She doesn't have the buck teeth that the book
which
indicate.
Devastates me.
But also it's like low-key, right, if you found an actor and they didn't have the buck teeth and they were perfect apart, like, that's fine. You know?
They could have given her fake teeth.
They could have given her fake teeth.
But it would have been a very different movie if they had.
It would. I mean, that would really change it all.
Yeah.
And also, like, Hermione, so I'll let you finish your thought, actually, regarding Emma. But basically, she ends up becoming the most stunning, like, perfect, beautiful.
There's a point in the movies where she's fully just blonde.
She's blonde, like Blake Lively hair, and just, like, the no makeup look. And she's just, I mean, things start to change in number 3, which we really are focused on 1 today. We're obviously going to be doing an episode on each of the 7 books and 8 movies. But like the punch in Azkaban, in the pink hoodie.
Well, Prisoner of Azkaban, I think we both
agree
both
is
of
the
our
best
faith.
film.
It's the best
Alfonso Cuarón, who would go on to do Roma.
And before Harry Potter did Y tu mamá también.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. Hot movie. Need to rewatch.
Very hot.
I used to watch the sex scene from it on the family computer. Or one of the sex scenes. And like,
off?
I don't know if my body had fully gotten ready to do that at that age, but I would watch.
Well, you could go back and do it now.
Back to you. Wait.
What do you think?
Slow down.
What do you think
girl.
Harry's favorite song on Brat would be?
I think Girls So Confusing remix. Like, it's all about reconciliation.
It's about him and Draco.
Yeah. In the 8th year at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
When they become besties.
And lovers.
And one thing, by the way, I mean, Harry and Draco would be the perfect couple. But honestly, like, if I have to choose, I would want Harry and Hermione together, not Harry and Ron.
Yes. If Harry has to be straight, I do want Harry and Hermione together. And I did like in Deathly Hallows Part 1 how they kind of acknowledge that there is
when they have the
something
slow
there.
dance. I love the sort of like Urban Outfitters grunge rock aesthetic of Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Deathly Hallows is in my top 3 of the movies.
What is it? 3 Deathly Hallows Part 1 and
It's 3
6
Order of the Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Deathly Hallows Part 1. Then
Mine would be 3, then honestly, I might have to put Sorcerer's Stone just because it's like I said, like I would wet the sleeping bag every night. Like I have a sensory connection. I can almost feel the urine clinging to my thighs.
Like you were so overcome with emotion that you just had to piss.
I think I drank a lot of Crystal Light lemonade going to bed growing up. Like I needed it. I've always had a really hard time falling asleep, and so like I've had to do like different rituals. Like,
but sugar is not the way.
Well, it's Crystal Light is sugar free, but before that I drank lemonade, and then I had like 10 cavities before my parents were like, "Oh wait, like stop drinking lemonade with bed." Then I switched to Crystal Light. I called it CL because I was that addicted. And then, like, eventually... eventually I did away with the whole yellow liquid phenomenon. But not before I can feel the wet inner thigh now.
What kind of sleeping bag did you have? Was it like...
It was black with, like, a sort of teal interior.
I had a really iconic sleeping bag that I also used to sleep in at my dad's place.
Oh, your parents were divorced too?
My parents were divorced.
Okay.
And it was a Smurfs sleeping bag.
Oh, shit. Smurfs is like, I feel like there were a lot of things growing up where my mom was like, that's inappropriate. And Smurfs was one of them.
Why were Smurfs inappropriate?
I don't know, like, I just had all these associations like Smurfs or Rugrats or like all this shit where it was like, that's like not highbrow enough or something. I was instilled with a sort of like snootiness as a child. Like my dad, who was a doctor and my parents were super anti-smoking, would make my sister Winnie and we were like 9 years old, walk up to smokers on the street and go, I'm not kidding.
Oh my God.
Like, we were raised to be a little like, that's not good enough for me.
That's crazy.
I know.
I'm imagining your parents as like sort of like an Esme Squalor from Series of Unfortunate
with the
Events.
knife stilettos. No, she's
Yes.
my god.
She is
Should we write
everything.
a play about Esme's black
Yeah.
backstory? Did not mean to say black story.
Yeah, young Esme.
Young Esme, the squalor.
It's kind of giving
In
Cruella.
Squalor. Yeah, wait.
In
I dare us
Squalor.
to take on a writing project and do that.
Okay.
Do you think we could, copyright wise?
Probably not.
Well, but what about Matt and Ben from Mindy Kaling? This could be our Matt and Ben.
It could.
Okay, we'll look at.
Okay,
copyright
we'll
laws later.
revisit that.
Anyway,
Esme Squalor honestly could be in Harry Potter.
she is. There's a crossover. For anyone who doesn't know, that's Count Olaf's girlfriend in Series of Unfortunate Events. She's everything, and she
She's
has
everything.
stilettos that are knives as the heels. And I'll never forget that because my little sister Winnie and I used to do this series of skits for our neighbors called A Violent Romance, which was just different couples murdering each other in different ways. And I would always want to do it with the knife stiletto to stab Winnie. And our neighbors would be like, what the fuck? And I told that story at Winnie just got married at her wedding. That was like my story I told in my speech.
And were you playing the lovers in these?
We were
little
playing the
sketches?
lovers.
Okay.
Yeah, the incestuous, murderous.
I love that.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Sorcerer's Stone,
Mhm.
unless I cut you off from anything.
Nope.
Basically, important things to note at the beginning are like when Hagrid delivers the letter, there's like the school supply list, which gags the dolls because there we get the robes, the wand, the textbooks,
The pewter scales.
pewter cauldron, yeah, and then we go to Diagon Alley.
Oh, women be shopping.
Women stay shopping, and strip malls are not all found in Kansas
Or Florida.
or Florida. Some of them are actually cool and have cobblestones and have Madame Malkin's robes and have Flourish and Blots, the bookstore that makes Barnes & Noble quiver in her shoes.
And the apothecary, CVS, found dead.
And Ilops Owl Emporium, which is when PetSmart ended up burning down.
And that's where Harry gets Hedwig.
Good God. And the Angry Inch. That's the snowy owl.
I love Hedwig
I love
so
Hedwig.
much.
She changed everything. Once Hedwig enters, it becomes a different book.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
does.
oh, this is a book about a beautiful
White, snowy
white
white owl.
owl. It's a snow owl.
It is kind of crazy
not
that
a-
they get to bring pets to school.
And the options, just to recount, are owl,
Cat.
rat, and frog.
Toad.
Apologies. Which we're soon going to be joined by the mother herself, Mrs. Neville Longbottom.
I used to have, I had this tradition in college. This is so dumb.
Stop.
I would always give my weed apparatuses Harry Potter themed names.
Apparatuses being like vapes or bowls or bongs.
Yes, so
Okay.
I had a bong called Neville Bong Bottom. I was
That's
such
brilliant.
a loser.
No, you were a winner, baby. You're a winner, baby. Is that RuPaul?
Yes.
What were the other names?
I had a pipe that was called the Minister of Magic.
Is there a wordplay I'm missing there?
No.
Okay.
It just was called
Alright,
the Minister
so-
of Magic.
Right.
I can't remember any of the others.
I mean, like, God, it was just my entire life. Like, my mom sewed me robes with stars and moons on them. Hermione. I have super curly hair, and
You are Hermione.
I'm Hermione. And you know who else is Hermione? That woman in the leaky cauldron who's an old lady in the movie who turns around when Harry walks in and has like frizzy hair. And it's like, there's Hermione.
There are Hermiones everywhere for those with eyes to see.
Carrie Bradshaw's sort of Hermione, but If you
She
smack
is
some sense into her.
yeah, which is impossible to do.
Yeah. The sausages, Diagon Alley, Grindelwald, and the chocolate frog card makes me just think about how the first book is so heavily connected to the seventh book.
But in a way where I don't think it's like she knew all that stuff in advance. I think at some
She
point
looked
when she
back.
was writing the later books, she went and like copied her own homework.
Yeah. One line I just forgot to mention is, "Dry up, Dursley, you great prune." Hagrid. And then we're at Gringotts now to keep us chronologically because we need to talk about Grip Hook stuns and new photo.
Well, that comes in later. So we were watching.
Oh, yeah.
We were watching the movie the other night, and Harry asks if he can see Ron's Daily Prophet at the breakfast
The
table.
newspaper.
And Hilton pointed out that Grip Hook was
On the cover.
and I said,
Rose
"Grip Hook stuns a new photo." And I haven't been able to stop thinking about it.
And we have another line that relates to that we'll get to in a little bit. But so, okay, we're at Hogwarts, Gryffindor common room. So cozy. Need to smoke Neville Bongbottom in there.
Oh yeah.
Do you still smoke weed?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, my vape is right here.
Oh wait, I think it's time for me to take a hit.
for
Okay,
sure.
yeah. So we're getting to Hogwarts. We're on a boat. Like, anything to say about that moment? I mean, it's heaven to boat up.
Well, that first shot of them seeing the castle is like, I've never felt wonder like that.
I've never been so
I've never been so gagged.
wondered. And do you know this? I wonder if you know this. You haven't taken the studio tour, have you? Which is outside of London near Stonehenge, because it's actually a 2-part thing. You do Harry Potter and then you go to Stonehenge. And it's not the actual lots they filmed on, but it's like stuff from the lots re-put into a tour that you can pay like $200 to go take pictures with the flying Fort Anglia. Anyway, when you see the boats sail up to the castle and you see the castle for the first time in all its glory, and you say like, oh, that's a place where I'm about to cry and cast spells and bleed and fuck. That castle is a miniature that's probably about as big as like your kitchen area. That is like a super detailed castle, but it's only as big as a small kitchen. And they filmed on that. They filmed that. And then with special effects put in like the boats. Is that clicking?
I did know that.
Okay, you knew that. Well, maybe some lucky girl out there didn't do her homework.
Because there are parts of the castle that are real locations. Like,
Yeah.
you can go...
The Great Hall is like Harvard or something, isn't that? Or is it Oxford?
Yeah, some British
Some
university.
shit, yeah.
And then there's like an outdoor part of the castle that is a real castle in Scotland, I believe, that you can go to.
Okay.
I want to go to Hogwarts.
I want to
so
go to
badly.
Hogwarts. So, and then that's the thing. It's just like the most heartbreaking thing in the world is that
We can't.
we're not there. It's like, it's so painful.
It's that knowing that even if it is real, like, we're muggles.
Right. And it is real.
It is real.
Like, that all happened, and we just... Siren going off to signal the distress. One thing, again, the food in the Great Hall after the... So you don't like the Sorting Hat. They're getting sorted. They're having the Great Hall welcome feast. And, like, the fucking food that is described
Oh
and
my
shown on
God.
camera.
Like the roast chicken and sausages and potatoes. I love British food. It's all like really hearty, you know,
Yeah.
like stick to your
Beans.
ribs type food.
Potatoes. Me too. I mean, I'm an Anglo fucker. Like, I'm obsessed with British culture. Once again, my ex-boyfriend was British. And all I care about is British things and Harry Potter, basically.
And all British people care about is Harry Potter.
Oh, do you think they're fatigued by it, though?
No, they are. Because
Yeah.
I was in London recently and I noticed, I mean, to be fair, I was staying in Soho, which is a very touristy area, but there were Harry Potter stores everywhere that just sold merch. Like,
And that will go on ad infinitum, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's never going to fade.
It's never because it's like one of their major exports.
Oh, and they're also doing a new series, I'm just recalling.
yes.
Which I need to just ask, like, it better not be like 10 episodes per book, because the first book doesn't need 10 episodes and the 7th book needs 20.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The first book only has a few scenes in it that aren't in the movie.
No, and the movie, like, I will say the first movie is, as you were saying, like, a very good adaptation. Like,
Yeah.
It pretty much everything from the books is in there. There's a few things that are cut that I wish had been in there. Like, I'm mad Peeves isn't in
Oh,
the
yeah,
movies.
that is crazy that Peeves is just not in them. We needed Peeves, although ultimately you kind of didn't.
You kind of don't.
Yeah.
He's very tertiary.
There's some interesting stuff cut from the second book that I'm sad was cut from the movie, like
the headless hunt.
and the death day party for nearly headless Nick.
Yeah.
But back to the first. Has anyone seen a toad? A boy named Neville's last one.
You've got
Entrance
dirt
line.
on
Your
your
nose, by the way.
there. Or when he's like, I'm Ron Weasley. Pleasure.
You two better change into your robes. Expect we'll be arriving soon. God, she devoured the scenery that day. And then
She's
Dumbly,
so good.
that Dumble, who's also in The Count of Monte Cristo.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that? With the girl from Succession playing Mercedes.
No.
Well, Dumbledore's in it, and he's so amazing. And I'll tea no shade, like, the second Dumbledore doesn't really work for me. In the same
He
way.
works for me.
He doesn't have the warmth. Although I guess Dumbledore ends up going a little bit hookah.
I do think he works for kind of who Dumbledore becomes.
Yeah, because he
is
becomes kind of
more-
a steely, like,
He's more manipulative.
hardened.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, he is so calculating. And then kind of fakes it with, like, I'm just drinking my tea and wanting socks for Christmas. Like, you
know
remember
they
that?
wanted it to be Ian McKellen. Can you imagine?
See, like, I get why Ian said no since he'd already done Gandalf, but it should have been Ian.
It should have been Ian.
Imagine.
And
Side
then
note?
we would have had real gay Dumbledore.
Gumbling cock whore. By the way, did you know Ian McKellen was nominated for supporting actor for Fellowship of the Ring?
As he should have been.
Of course, but, like, I didn't realize Lord of the Rings got any acting nominations.
Yes.
I think that's the only one.
And he deserved.
I know, it's heaven. Like, more of that. Like, out of the
love
Harry
Lord of the
Potters, the nominees would be Maggie, who rest in peace.
Alan.
Beautiful one. Alan. And wait, who did we say?
Honestly, Imelda Staunton as
Umbridge.
Umbridge,
Yeah,
she could have gotten a best supporting.
I feel like we had another one before.
You know what? I met her.
What?
I interviewed Imelda.
What?
Yeah.
For what?
For when she was in the second Downton Abbey movie.
You're fucking
Or no, the first
kidding.
Downton
I'm
Abbey
gonna,
movie.
like, faint right now.
I know.
You met one of the Harrys?
I was gagged.
Did you ask her anything about Umby?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You have to respect it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
I knew what I was there
publicists don't
for.
want you to
They
do that.
really don't want you to.
That was like when I interviewed Sarah Jessica Parker, which is a whole other story where, like, the girl who was recording the audio didn't hit record, and luckily we had backup scratch audio, but it was like a whole thing. And I gave Sarah Jessica, like, this gift, whatever. This is a whole side thing, and she ended up posting it on Instagram and following me, and since then, like, it's been a little taste of heaven. But anyway, the publicists were like, you cannot ask about Sex in the City 3. This was long before, and just, like, that was ever a twinkle in anyone's eye. And so I had to ask her about divorce, and I was so nervous. I was just like, so have you had any dating app experiences? She's like, I've been married 15 years. Like, gee. Just got really sidetracked.
Hey, believe me, I have derailed a celebrity interview before myself. I never even published my interview with Emma Stone from The Favorite because it went so badly.
You're kidding me. What did you ask?
I asked her.
Oh, I'm dead. Emma Stone's, like, famously such, like, an affable person.
I asked her if she, because really, like, I had only really prepared for the Rachel Weisz interview. And
Damn, you
it was-
gagged like that? Was this it out?
Yeah, it was let out.
Wow.
And I asked Emma Stone if she and Rachel Weisz were in a real life fight, who would win? And she was like a physical fight? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I don't know. Like, I guess Rachel? and it just really derailed the whole thing. And
that is
you only have
hell.
4 minutes.
You get 4 minutes to save the world.
And-
We only got 4 minutes to save the world.
And if you fuck up the vibe, like there's really no way to come back from it.
Yeah. That happened to me. I mean, I have an unpublished interview with Jemima Kirk from when she did like this weird movie, low key. Forget what it was, something at Tribeca, and it just like, I feel like I low key didn't have someone to publish it, and it just kind of like happened, and then I was like, oh wait, I don't know where this would get published.
Yeah, they don't always work out. But I will say from that same junket, my interview with Rachel Weisz was great.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll need to check that out. I want to say something, which is
Please do.
I'm going to read a passage I wrote down while listening to the audiobook that like brought me to tears and may bring me to tears again, because this is kind of the most, honestly, arguably the most important without you realizing it moment of the whole series, which is this. There was a very embarrassed pause. Then, none of them looking at each other, they all said thanks and hurried off to get plates. From that moment on, Hermione Granger became their friend. There are some things that you can't share without ending up liking each other, and knocking out a 12-foot mountain troll is one of them. Ow, my legs. Ow, the prickling of
That is up by the pricking of my legs. That is also one of my favorite passages in the book.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like Ron and Harry hate Hermione because she's a know-it-all. And then through a series of unfortunate events, a mountain troll and Hermione are locked in a bathroom together, and Harry and Ron save her, and she takes the fall for it. And after that, the three of them become best friends.
And it's a friendship that is so important to me, to us, to so many people.
Yeah.
One thing I have to question about the logic of the wizarding world is, why do they celebrate Christmas?
Okay, expand on why that would be a problem.
Because
Jesus is the new black.
Are they...
That's a Lady Gaga song.
Are they Christian? Because like,
I feel like at some point some saint was a wizard, like on a chocolate frog card. You know how like Merlin is on there? Like I'm sure like Saint Matthew.
Like, was Jesus a wizard?
Jesus was probably a witch. Trans.
Because like it's
God is probably a chocolate frog card.
The,
God is just like some wizard from 0 AD.
It's just like because the miracles Jesus performed, wizards can perform.
Shit.
So why would they think that that person was the son of God unless it was
a
wizard?
Now I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like that's not a miracle to them. Unless Jesus was a muggle who did that.
Well, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that wizards have adopted from muggle culture that it doesn't make sense considering as we go on, we understand how much some wizards hate muggles.
Or don't know anything about, in the sense of like Ron being like, wait, the pictures don't move? That's crazy. Or Hermione, or like the guy wearing the dress. It's like, so you know that little about muggle culture. Or you did know and you're trans, which go off.
But then you also have things that are like, have a one-to-one in the wizard and muggle worlds. Like
Christmas.
They have like Christmas, like radios, but they just happen to be magical radios. Like
I think I like that though, that in a way that feels realistic to me and isn't like a plot hole, in the sense that it's like there would be cross-pollination between these two things, and also like muggles are unavoidable. I think
it's not necessarily a plot hole. I think it's more like something that makes a lot of sense when the books are children's books. And then as they become more adult and they become filled with more like ideas about prejudice, it starts to not make as much sense.
Well, it's interesting how basically wizard adults don't spend almost any time interacting with muggles or in the muggle world. And yet, in reality, like, they probably would. And then also some of my favorite scenes in the whole series involve like when Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in the muggle world.
And also a huge turning point in the movies is in Prisoner of Azkaban when Alfonso Cuarón put them in Muggle clothes.
Yeah.
And I do think that makes such a huge difference in
'Cause you
them
need to be able-
feeling more like real people.
Right, like you need to be able to feel like, oh, this could be me there in there. And when they're dressed in robes, it's like, okay, there go the little dancing elves.
Although I'm happy that in the first one that they introduced that they have actual uniforms on under their robes, because
Oh, I forgot about that.
if they were literally just wearing robes, I think it would be weird.
Right. I mean, you'd feel the breeze.
You certainly would.
So we're there. The troll happens on Halloween. It's important to acknowledge Madame Hooch in her one and only scene.
I know her strap is big.
Yeah, that's a lesbian who tops.
Yes. We also must acknowledge Mr. Filch and his cat, Mrs. Norris, who I wonder if they've ever explored each other's bodies.
I was actually just, as I arrived at your house just now, listening to the scene in book 2 where we learn that Filch is a squib and Mrs. Norris gets petrified. So they have a lot on their plate, those two. And Filch definitely continued to explore Norris's body as she was a stone-cold petrified creature.
Do you want to hear something?
Oh, that was really
Do you want to hear
rapey.
something absolutely disgusting?
Okay. Oh, God. Worse
So-
than what I just said?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
So there was a series of fanfics I read when I was a teenager that was called like Detention with McGonagall. And
You were already in fanficky as a teen?
I started reading Harry Potter fanfiction when I was like 12.
And all of it was sexual?
No, not all of it.
Okay.
But I certainly found the sexual stuff quickly. And in these stories, each fic would be a different character going to detention with McGonagall, and she would have sex with them.
How old were they?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's bad.
So there's that tea.
There was one in which she turned into a cat and went down on Hermione as a cat. I'm really sorry. I just had, I had to share that.
Oh, fuck. McGonagall is the most regal. I'm such a McGonagallist. McGonagallist.
R.I.P. Maggie Smith.
I know. It's so sad. I have a whole story I could share about that that's actually just not worth sharing, about like what I did in the wake of Maggie's death that just kind of fucked up my own life. But
Okay, we'll talk about it off mic.
okay. Something that can't be missed is this. She needs to sort out her priorities.
What is Hermione's line?
I'm going to bed before either of you think of another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled.
Incredible.
She needs to sort out her priority. Like that.
That brought the house down.
I would give Ron and Hermione supporting noms in the first film, honestly, because of their work. I mean, Ron is amazing.
Amazing. I think actually of the three of them, he might be the best actor.
I think if you average it all together in the films, let's not talk about their outside work, which is a whole other conversation. But yeah, I think Ron is maybe the strongest. Not that any of them are weak. I think all three are very strong.
Because he's so funny,
Yeah.
and he does the serious stuff really well.
He's so committed too. Like you watch Rupert Grint in Sorcerer's Stone, and he's like, you can't see this because it's a podcast, but he's like squelching up his face, like, "Bleh?" Like
He's got
so
a very
funny,
like, gummy face.
yeah.
that he
It's
uses
just he
perfectly.
gets it.
And I love Ron,
Me too.
even though Ron can be a huge dick sometimes.
Especially, yeah, like starting in 4, Ron can be a dick. But it's interesting because here, when Harry gets cast as Seeker, or gets hired as Seeker, Ron is so happy for him.
But he also is jealous.
Is he?
Like, it's very important that they do point out in the books, like, he is always saying stuff like, oh, I wish that was me. Or, like, when Harry gets the broom, he's like, I would kill for a broom like that.
But when Harry is, like, nervous about being Seeker after the Madame Hooch debacle with Neville and the Madame, and Harry's like, I don't know. And Ron is like, oh, come on, Harry. Quidditch is great. Best game there is. And then Harry goes, I'll make a fool of myself. And then Hermione comes and says one of the lines where I actually don't know what she's saying. She goes, you won't make a fool of yourself. It's in your blood.
It's in your blood.
I guess she's saying won't, but it
Won't.
sounds like she's saying will.
Won't.
Won't make a fool of yourself. It's in your blood.
That was really good.
When I need to stop talking about him, but when I started dating my British ex for the first year we were dating, like I couldn't stop talking in a British accent, and he was like, please stop. And eventually I did. And we had another several years. So all right, enough about that. Stop asking.
I was not.
I'll babble that out. Harry's blue sweater.
Oh, okay, Christmas.
Yeah.
Harry gets the invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
Which is a very important plot point that will
And
carry on.
to be clear about your essay's thesis, you think when she wrote the first book, she was not thinking that invisibility cloak would be coming back as a Deathly Hallow in the 7th?
No, I think it's very much he needs to be able to sneak around the school. How is he going to do that? Invisibility cloak.
Yeah. I love how, like, she describes it as liquid almost. Like, it's just, like, basically liquid you can hold. I just thought that
It's like trying to catch smoke. It's like trying to catch
smoke
smoke in
with
your
your
bare
bare
hands.
hands. That girl devouring every scene she's in Azkaban, in the divination rooms.
Would you want Would you want to be invisible? What would you do if you could be invisible?
This is a good question, and leads to the question of, like, what superpower would you have? And my answer to that is teleportation, because then you wouldn't have to travel ever, and in theory your clothes get to come with you, so you might be able to carry things. And also, or maybe it's naked and that's fine, you just teleport to, like, a field or something. But also this, you could teleport up into the high sky, free fall for a while, and then teleport again back up, and you're flying.
True.
I mean, as long as you remember to teleport and not
Yeah.
smack the ground.
I would want telekinesis. I would want to be able to move things with my mind.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, because then you don't have to get up off the couch.
Ever. And you could also fly. You could, like, lift your own body.
Oh, yeah. And you couldn't teleport, though. Because teleport is like apparating. It's a blink.
Yes.
And it cuts out your commute. Which maybe I actually love commuting, low-key, so.
You do?
Well, I like riding the train by myself and listening to something in headphones. I don't like commuting with other people. Like, I hate to be on the train with friends. Like, I try and avoid it at all
into
costs.
someone on the subway.
I hate running
is
into people.
The worst
I need to
experience in
know
the
that
world.
I'm gonna see you, to have time to prepare. Like, okay, I'm gonna see you.
Well, because also you have that moment where you're like, can I put my headphones back in? Or, like, do I have to talk to this
Exactly.
person until we get off the train? And then when you find out that you're actually both getting off at the same
Oh god, it's
stop,
hell. I had this recently, and I've also had
That's
it recently
horrible.
where, like, we've said hi and then put our headphones back in, and it's just heaven.
Well, that's the best. It's
Yeah.
like you can acknowledge, say hi, and then, okay.
Yeah. And to be clear, the person who I just ran into on the train and we rode the whole way talking, like, that was heaven. If you're listening, like, no shade.
Except we hate you.
Well, it's just, for me, it's so jarring because, like, I honestly take my headphones out about a minute before I arrive at a destination just to, like, reacclimate myself to the real world and get used to, like, not having my music or podcast or audiobook playing so that I'm not so jarred when I have to start holding a conversation.
That's smart.
I need that, like, prep time. So just run into someone and have my headphones in and have to take them out and be like, oh, I'm dropping my AirPod. Like, AirPod. Airbud.
AirPod.
Yeah, you get it.
Got it. Oh, we haven't really talked about Snape.
Yeah, who somehow, it just has to be said, like, you're afraid of trans people? Like, girl, you wrote the trans person in
The diva
Severus
doll
Snape,
herself.
the diva doll herself.
I mean, Snape is one of the big linchpins, I think, in a problem in the movies as adaptations, which is, I love Alan Rickman, but he's too old to play Snape.
How do you mean?
Because
because he's the same age as James and Lily.
He's supposed to be the same age as Lily, and they had Harry when they were very young. Like,
Wait, were James and Lily the same age?
yeah, they
Yeah,
were all
okay,
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah, yeah,
class.
okay, yeah. For a second, I was like, wait, was Lily younger?
And they were very young, and so that leads to them. Them casting Snape older means they had to cast
The parents older.
The parents
Because
older.
they were supposed to die young.
And
Like the most of
Sirius
the night,
and
like the
Remus
gun
older. So that's why, like, they're all kind of
Oh,
old.
That's interesting because can I get tea spill for a sec? Like, this is going to be bad for my rep. But if I'm honest, I would have maybe had specifically with Sirius and Remus. All love to Gary Oldman and
David
Thewlis, who are great actors, but don't quite capture the likability of Sirius and Remus in the books, where it's like, oh, that's my sister who's a little bit older, but like we're still gonna smoke Neville
Exactly.
Longbottom.
Because they're supposed to be in like their early 30s.
Yeah.
And they're clearly in their like mid 40s.
But I will push back at you in the sense that like no one else could have done Snape, like Alan Rickman.
That's
and
true.
J.K. Rowling has said on the record that she like wrote the character with Alan in mind, which is a little like, okay, capitalist pig, so you knew this was going to be a blockbuster series. But yeah, Severus, ultimately like the craziest part of the book series. Do you think that was known from the get-go? Like the big twist, which we're not going to get into on this episode.
No, I believe that as much was planned out in this first book to get through the first book.
Really? I can't quite say that. I think she had to have some roadmap of where she wanted to go. I don't think she had it all figured out. And I think like the Lamplighter, for example, was definitely like, what's in chapter 1 that can come back in the final? And it's like, oh yeah, the Lamplighter. Which ultimately, I mean, in the end, it leads Ron back to the girls.
But
it's
in a
like,
dumb way.
and it's kind of like, wait, the Lamplighter can't do that. Like, it can take a light out of a street lamp. It can't make an orb lead you around.
And like go into your chest.
Yeah, and apparate you into the Forest of Dean.
Dumb.
Although I love that part.
I love Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Like, I have to say it's my favorite book. Even, I can't say that because it's like, it's different from the other 6 books. It's the only one that doesn't take place at Hogwarts. So it's in a category of its own, but ultimately it's so good, and the experience of reading it was so amazing that I have to choose it. But if you can eliminate that from the 7 and picking your favorite book, I would maybe pick 4 because of how much more there is in the book than in the movie.
Yeah, I would pick 6. 6 is my favorite book. I love all of the pensive memories of Voldemort.
I call it the pensive.
Pensive. I wonder how Jim Dale pronounces it.
Oh, we'll find out soon. I'm roaring through these books. They're the only way I can fall asleep now. It's like Crystallite.
I used to have I used to have Half-Blood Prince. I used to have the audiobook of it on CDs, and I would listen to them in my car.
Oh,
and there were like 50 CDs.
You did it different. It was 50 CDs to get through.
So many.
The audiobooks are divided into 2 parts, starting with Chamber of Secrets. But Sorcerer's Stone is just one episode.
What are you listening to them on?
Spotify. They just like have all of them in like a playlist on Spotify.
Oh, that's what I'm listening to
Oh,
now too.
okay.
The audio quality is not great.
Oh, really? I haven't had an issue. Jim Dale is ringing clear and crisp in my ears.
It's just a little muffled to my
A muffler?
senses.
Is a snuffler or a muffler something from Harry Potter?
Here's a question I wanted to ask
Okay.
you. So during Christmas, Harry discovers the Mirror of Erised, which is desire spelled backwards.
Yes, I
Caroline
did know
Polachek asks.
Anyone who doesn't by this point know that Mirror of Erised is desire spelled backwards. It's like, I don't have time for you. You're not even thinking
You're
for
not
yourself.
on my level.
Like, go home.
What would you
read
see?
Twilight.
What would you see in the mirror?
Oh my god, I forgot you were gonna ask this, and I didn't like prepare. You go first. Do you know?
No, I don't.
I like honestly, some of the things I would say, like I can't say probably because I just can't. But parts of it I could say. Here's what I could say.
I would have huge boobs. No.
I would be Keira Knightley. I would look like Keira Knightley, but with my face
But
still.
you already look like Keira Knightley.
Oh my god, you're sweet.
Would you look like her in Pirates of the Caribbean?
I would look like her, but with really curly hair. Like I would keep my hair, and I would keep my eyes, and I would keep like my general face structure, but just like not have facial hair and and have a long neck like her, and have like her body and be her, but like with me infused. Okay, that's all like obviously there's so many touched layers to what I just said that are needing to be unpacked and can't be right now. And so let me walk it back and just say this. What if mine is just I'm on stage at the Oscars winning Best Actress and Original Screenplay in the same year?
That's really good.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine would maybe be like me signing books at like a book signing, and like all of these people are like effusively talking about how much they love me.
Which is, you're basically there, girl. Like, you have a book coming out, and I'm sure it's great. I haven't read it yet, but like,
you will.
You could be very close to seeing what you want to see in the Mirror of Erised, like in the next year.
Yeah.
That's major. Congratulations.
But then sometimes when I would look into it, I would just like be dead. I would just like not, I would just not exist.
It would just be empty.
Yeah.
I mean, tea, of course, but like,
or I would be, I would be a cis woman.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to the whole Keira Knightley issues.
Or I'd be like a cis gay guy.
Can you imagine?
Dark.
With like big tits?
No, just like a gay guy.
Oh.
I would have detransitioned.
Oh,
or like I would never have transitioned.
Wait, do you know this line reading? And there's a pause that needs to be allowed to breathe. Okay. Oh, I did not know that. It's the favorite. Speaking of
yes.
And Rachel Weisz or Olivia Colman's like, oh, the war's over. And Rachel Weisz is like, no, it's not. And Olivia Colman goes, oh, I did not know that. Anyway, I'm trying to make that catch on as like an everyday catchphrase, but the pause is so long that I'll say the first O and people will cut me off before I can say the rest.
You maybe got to speed it up a little bit.
Yeah, but then it doesn't work in the same way. Not that it really landed hard just now.
Right. Okay, so I will say I think in both the book and the movie, like things start to get a little boring post Christmas because we really have to move forward to the climax of the book.
Yeah, it starts to just be a little like, I don't want to say filler, because one of the genius things about J.K. Rowling is every little detail ends up coming back. She's a master of like callbacks, you know?
She's a master of backshots.
Is that where you get?
Yeah.
Been there. That's all I'll say. Yeah, so Christmas. Wait, there was something. Oh, when they win the Quidditch game, it's just important to acknowledge Maggie Smith's laughter of delight. And she goes,
The Quidditch parts of both the books and the movie are my least favorite sections.
Well, ultimately, and we talked about this when we were over here watching the movie the other night, is like, Quidditch doesn't make sense. Like, the only thing that matters is the Seeker. And the idea that the Quaffle could ever matter, like, she tries to show in Goblet of Fire that, oh, look, the Seeker caught it, but they still lost. And it's like, ultimately, Victor Crumb wouldn't throw away the World Cup just because it was going on too long.
No.
You know? Like, he would wait for his team to try and rally.
Yeah, it's a flawed premise.
That said, it's heaven, but like,
it's just so lame to me that like something so like archaic and magical as like riding a broomstick is used for such a boring thing.
I have to push back on you for that because, oh well, okay, actually I get what you're saying, except that I think one of the best things about Harry Potter, and I also think this is true of any type of I don't want to say IP because I hate that kind of lingo, but like any type of story that takes a pre-existing notion that's universally kind of recognized of like a witch has a broomstick and a hat, and like taking those little things and then putting them into this world and expanding out like what would they actually be doing with it. I just love that. I feel like there's a word for it, but I love when things do that. And Harry Potter is the king of doing that because it's like, we all know wizards would have like potions and magic wands and cloaks and owls, and like she takes all of that and then puts it into a world where it all makes sense.
Yeah, but I think my problem is that it makes too much sense. Like it demystifies magic to the point of it being sort of banal.
But isn't that almost cool? It's like, oh yeah, it's like a broomstick, and the wizard's attitude towards it is like, Oh, like a flying broom? Like, right. Like I have 5 in my backyard.
I don't know. It's just for me, when I read fantasy, I prefer fantasy where you're not getting everything
full peek
over
behind the
explained to
curtain.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, I like things that are
Interesting.
a little bit more I like a soft magic system, where
Right, like Lord of the Rings, you don't understand how the magic is happening fully.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of world building in Lord of the Rings. I would say like a good example. I'm only saying this because I watched a video essay about it recently. Like something like Neil Gaiman, who, I mean,
Who's that
unfortunately,
again?
he's also been canceled recently. He's a writer. He wrote the book that Coraline, the movie, is based on.
Shit. Why didn't that? I need to look up what beat Coraline for animated feature that year, because
So something like that is like soft magic, where like there is like some kind of established like fantastical world.
you're
but
talking about Coraline.
Yeah, but you only get a certain amount of understanding, and like not everything is explained to you, and it allows the magic to stay kind of wondrous and unknowable, and I prefer
I get
that.
But does that mean you're saying that you prefer the world building of Lord of the Rings or something where you don't get the full peek behind the curtain to how Harry Potter did it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So you would rather read Lord of the Rings than Harry Potter. Is that what you're saying? By the way, I'm holding a gun.
If I had to hold a gun, I am more of a Lord of the Rings person than a Harry Potter person.
So the podcast guest has unfortunately passed away. I don't know who shot her, but I'll continue from here. Toy Story 3 beat Coraline for the Oscar for animated
That's
feature.
so fucked up.
Although I sobbed hard, and honestly, like, even though Coraline is the more unique and honestly artistically ambitious because of the stop motion. And Toy Story 1 and 2, I think, had both won already, so not really fair. But anyway, I digress. You would prefer Lord of the Rings. I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that because I can't stomach it.
Every time I see the Hogwarts castle, I just think I need to be on my phone in there. I need to be checking Twitter in the Great Hall.
Oh, wait, we're at the invisibility cloak. It's time to say the line that we can.
Oh my God.
So in the movie, Harry tries on his invisibility cloak. And he goes, "My body's gone." Low-key, I go after he says that. And he looks down and he goes, "My body's tea."
I know that that's not going to be as funny to your listeners as it is to us, but it's really funny to us, so I don't think that matters.
Regarding the Mirror of Erised, I have written down that Dumbledore is like, "Men have wasted away in front of it. It does not do to dwell on dreams." And low-key, the Mirror of Erised is not to make this podcast like a cheesy, like everything is like a top or a bottom, but it's like the Mirror of Erised is basically Grindr.
I think Mirror of Erised is like our phones.
It's our phones.
It's social media.
It's social media.
It's
like
the internet.
You're looking at like a fantasy of what could be, but you're just sitting there staring at something. I mean, a Mirror of Erised is basically an iPhone.
It's like that meme about Black Mirror. It's like because you be on that phone. That's what the Mirror of Erised is.
Wait, what happens? What? I just blacked out.
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
It's because you be on that phone. It's like the evils of
Oh,
technology.
the name of Black Mirror
Yeah.
is
about
referring to
a phone screen. It's a black mirror.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
One thing is this. That's what was stolen from Gringotts. That's what Fluffy's been guarding. The Sorcerer's Stone.
Which they then decide that they are going to try to get before Snape can get it.
Whoa, slow down, girls. Slow down. Wait, who am I? Do you get that reference?
No.
But so in the episode of Sex and the City that's like horse themed,
Oh,
and Samantha's fucking like the guy who has like way too big a cock, and Charlotte has been riding a horse, and Carrie's doing something with horse. I think it's actually the episode that's like the end of season 2 where
some women
are meant to be tamed. And she like looks at the horse and everything is like horse.
I'm imagining Dumbledore.
We need to make that edit. Holy fuck. And instead of the way we were, it's the Harry Potter theme song. But the funniest part of that episode is Samantha's trying to have sex with this guy who's too big of a dick is the whole plot. And he's like becoming anachronistically a horse. And so he's like trying to enter her and Samantha goes, "Whoa, boy, easy." Like she's talking to her. She's like, "Easy, boy." Yeah. She's like, "Easy, boy. Oh, down, boy." Like, anyway. Something that needs to be said as soon as I rip the weed vape is in the movie theater. I remember, so my birthday is November 20th. And so most big movies come out like basically on November 20th or the 21st or whatever that Friday is, like before Thanksgiving. It's just like the big time for blockbuster movies.
Yeah,
and
Wicked is coming out 2 days after your birthday.
Every year so like for most of my birthdays, the first and second, I went on my actual birthday to the premiere. Or the premiere being like a screening in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I mean, those were the most magical things of my life. Like I can vividly remember like sitting down in the seat with like my mom and my Aunt Heidi. But anyway, in the theater, I can remember that Hagrid's lines of like, he's like he says like, "Oh, Fluffy," which is the 3-headed dog. He's like, "Just play him a bit of music and he'll fall straight asleep." And then he goes,
"Oh,
I shouldn't have told you that. I should not have told you that." The whole theater was like, ah!
It's really funny.
Yeah. Hagrid is everything. And we didn't even talk about Hagrid.
Oh my God. Hagrid, one of the most suckable characters.
Yes. I said, "Can we party later on?" He said, yes.
Should we talk about, okay, who else would we suck in Sorcerer's Stone?
Sorcerer's Stone. Okay, so Hagrid is definitely up at the top.
Would suck. Snape.
Oliver Wood.
Well, he's underage.
Maybe he's a sixth year. Or no, he's a fifth year.
16.
Isn't that legal?
No.
Okay.
Let's skip over
Backtrack.
that.
Babble.
You said you would suck Vernon Dursley.
I did say that because he has a nice thick mustache, and that just immediately brings me to thinking of it like brushing in my ass crack.
I would suck.
But I wouldn't suck Vernon. Let's be real.
I would suck Professor Quirrell, but I would somehow want to be looking at Voldemort's face when I did it. So maybe I would pull his cock like between his ass cheeks.
You are perverted.
And suck it from the back.
Okay, I would suck Dumbledore. I'm into old guys, and he's like a literal legend, a living legend.
Yeah.
I'm a living legend. Lana, love that song. Underrated. From
I would suck
Blue
McGonagall,
Banisters.
obviously.
Because McGonagall has a cock.
Well, you can suck anything. I would suck Petunia.
I kind of do think McGonagall could be trans for sure. Petunia. Okay, who would I actually suck? Let's get it straight. Who else is there? Lucius.
He's not in this one.
But okay, no, actually, you know what? In the book, Harry meets Malfoy at Diagon Alley in Madame Malkin's robe shop while they're both getting fitted, which implies that Lucius was in Diagon Alley just
but
outside.
we don't see him.
Okay, well, I need to
Suck.
be completely obliterated by my father, Lucius Malfoy, who is in fact a woman.
Okay.
That was a Pirates of the Caribbean reference, except for Elizabeth, who is in fact a woman. Does that track at all?
Which one?
The first one. So towards the end, Jack Sparrow goes, "So we're all really men of our word, really, except for Elizabeth, who is in fact a woman." That's just like one of his little throwaways. Didn't quite land here.
I actually think Johnny Depp would have made a good Snape if they cast younger.
Oh, fuck.
He also would have been a good Sirius.
Oh my god. Wait, we should have done this. Like, who would you have put as the youngest? That's really smart.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. Gilderoy Lockhart should not have been Kenneth Branagh. That should have been Jude Law.
No, but he's so good.
Yeah, but he's not
so good in
hot.
the
Like,
second
I
movie.
don't think I would suck
I
him,
think
but
Kenneth Branagh's hot.
I would suck.
Obviously.
In the first movie, who else is there to suck?
Who else
There's not
is
a lot of other
suckable?
adult men
There's
walking around.
Yeah, there's not a lot of suckable people. It really is mostly Hagrid.
It's basically Haggy in number 1.
And Snape.
Yeah, and obviously I would. It's Snape after all.
It's Snape. Do you know about Snape wives?
No. Enlighten me.
Snape wives were this like sect of Harry Potter fans who believed that Snape was like a like godlike entity who J.K. Rowling had just sort of been like channeling when she wrote Harry Potter.
So she wrote it like for him with
Yeah.
his intentions.
Like they believe that like what happens in Harry Potter like exists, and that Snape is this like divine force,
Holy fuck.
and that they are
Why are they
spiritually
low-key
wed to him, and they call themselves Snape wives. And
Wait, let's start having Snape wives meetings in the Brooklyn chapter.
Okay,
like I'm
great.
down. That all rings true, and that also solves the problem of J.K. Rowling being a fucking turf, because that's just her celebrity outside of writing the books that were handed to her on a tablet by Severus Snape, who exists.
Yeah, and these
and
women
is trans.
These women believed that like their husbands would like channel Snape while they were fucking them,
Oh, that's hot.
and deranged.
I don't see it that way.
Okay.
It actually makes perfect sense. I can't believe you're just bringing this up now, because it really solves the J.K. Rowling problem, and it does a little bit of a Moses and the tablet reference, which never hurt no one. I mean, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, my mind is going a mile a minute right now.
You have the mind of a mastermind.
I have the mind of Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore.
Who gets called away from the castle.
Yes.
And so that, as we learn, Quirrell,
Oh, Fluffy Suckable.
Fluffy
Suckable.
Um,
So yeah, Dumbledore gets called away. The three run to McGonagall after an unsavory interaction with Severus Snape. And McGonagall is gagged to the wig to learn that the three tykes know about the Sorcerer's Stone. How do you know? Someone's going to try and steal it.
and so they realize that they can't count on an authority figure to help them, and they have to take matters into their own hands.
Here's a little bit of a plot thing. It's like Dumbledore can apparate and could be back immediately, and also like wouldn't be fooled and basically knows everything that's going on anyway. But I think actually it's not a plot hole, because I think he intentionally leaves to give Harry and Ron and Hermione this
I think so, too.
experience.
Yeah. He's playing 4D chess. He's always 10 steps
One jump
ahead.
ahead of the bread line, one swing ahead of the sword.
Speaking of chess,
Let's do wizard's chess.
not me,
Not Hermione, you. No, what is it? He's going to sacrifice himself. And by the way, I'm not saying this because it's a TikTok trend. Like, we were already clocked in before that.
Yeah.
And then it goes, don't you see? Once I make my move, the queen will take me. And now
Once I make my move,
the queen will
I
take
don't
me.
know.
and then so the music is building and it's going dun 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 dun. And then Ron goes, knight to H3.
And Ron kind of is Anya Taylor-Joy in The Queen's Gambit. Like, he even has the same hair.
If Anya isn't playing Ron in the miniseries,
Then what are we even doing?
Wait, we forgot
What
to cast
are we
the rest
doing?
of the Remus, Sirius, and James and Lily. Well, James and Lily aren't in it, but like Remus, Sirius, and Snape.
Okay,
To
Remus.
be younger.
Remus, I want to be Lee Pace.
Oh, fuck. You are good, because he's werewolf tea, too. Damn, bitch. We need to get you to what's the casting place?
Warner Brothers?
No, like
Oh.
WCA or whatever, the agency.
WTA.
Yeah.
And Peter Pettigrew is
Severus could be. I mean, Johnny Depp is good. You could also
but
do
like young Johnny Depp.
Yeah. I'm blanking on actors right now. Which is-
Peter Pettigrew is played by
Sirius could be Colin Farrell.
yeah.
That actually makes
Well,
sense.
he's in Fantastic Beasts.
Which is not T.
It's no, but he's really hot in it.
Oh yeah, he's so fucking sexy. Is he in the first one? I've only seen
He's
the
in the
first
first
one,
one,
and
and
I
he
think I fell asleep.
And
in
he
the
spends
theater.
the whole movie kind of like trying to fuck Ezra Miller.
Oh wait, really?
I mean,
What is his
really.
character again?
He's secretly Grindelwald.
Oh, so he
In
goes
disguise.
from there to Johnny. And who is he pretending to be, though?
He's pretending to be an Auror, I believe.
Muggle? Non-magic fuck. This boy's had his name written down ever since the day we were born. He's got the finest boys, which Captain Richard and the word and he'll be the finest headmaster the Dumbledore I've ever seen. Albus Dumbledore.
Do you think if you had to get through the enchantments that are guarding the Sorcerer's Stone, do you think you would be able to get through them?
So let's walk through them. We start with Fluffy, who is the most suckable in the film, even more so than Hagrid, in my opinion, because I am attracted to dogs now and then. Mm-hmm. Not that I would act on it.
And you have to. The only way to distract Fluffy is with music. So you could just sing something with your beautiful voice.
Oh, you're sweet. But I was thinking that Hagrid might have forgotten the other way to placate Fluffy,
Which is
and that's
by sucking his 3 dicks.
Well, you suck one and you jerk them. You know that.
Right.
That's a Harry Potter line. He's like, he's like, at the end, he's like, but Hagrid, I'm not allowed to do magic outside of school. You know that. Okay, so anyway, could you get past Fluffy? I mean, I have a singing voice and 2 hands and a mouth, so I'll be fine. Will you?
Yeah, I think I'll be okay. I'll have my phone with me, and I do have music downloaded.
What do you have downloaded?
A lot. So I'm going to play You Sexua.
Okay, favorite song.
And Fluffy is going to go right to sleep. And then the Devil's Snare.
Fluffy at the Eusexual rave.
The Devil's Snare, I think I could
in
get...
the books, the whole relaxing. In the movie, it's like, just relax and you'll fall through. And it's kind of random.
It's not in the book.
No, in the book, it's like there's just sunlight. There's no relax.
No, I don't think there's any devils. Is there Devil's Snare?
There is. But you don't relax to get out of it. Just Hermione happens to jump up quickly and get to a side wall. Because I actually went back and re-listened to be like, wait, what? And she just like gets up before it grabs her and then is like, what did they say in her biology? She's like, oh yeah, sunlight. Luma solem.
No, she is fire.
Oh, yeah,
and Ron goes, are you a witch or not?
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so together we got there.
Yeah, I think I would get through the Devil's Snare because if there's one thing I can do, it's relax. So I would just like fully go limp and get out.
I don't think I could relax, but I do think who's kissing on your wall there? 2 devils?
A demon and a boy.
They're Harry Potter characters, by the way.
That's
a demon and a
Harry
human.
Draco.
That's hot. Yeah, I think I could come up. I usually have a lighter on me, so I think I'd be fine regarding the Devil's Snare.
Okay, then the keys.
So this one is kind of the stupidest one of the whole regimen of tasks.
But
because
also
it's
maybe the hardest.
But like basically what happens is they walk into a high vaulted ceiling room where there's a heavy door that Alohomora, the unlocking charm, won't work on, and there's a broom, and they have to find the key that matches, which if you're the first person in there, it's like, how the fuck would you do that? That's impossible. Except that they're looking for a big old-fashioned one, and there's basically one big clunker, and the rest are little dainty keys to a little jewelry box. And also the wing happens to be broken because Quirrell has already been through.
How convenient is that?
Of course, they do go rabid for the broom holder as soon as you touch it.
Yeah, I don't think I could get through that one. I don't have great hand-eye coordination,
Same.
and I have really bad eyesight.
Oh, okay. I have great eyesight, and I caught a phone that was thrown to me earlier this morning, so maybe I'd be fine. But
Okay.
I think I would also have nerves that might get in my way, and I'd be like really scared of all the things chasing me, and I might
but
fumble.
you'd get through. So if we're doing this, you're taking that challenge for us.
Okay, right. Okay, so we're together.
Okay, so then the chess game. I don't know how to play chess.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
You don't even know the rules?
No.
Oh, bitch. We need to go take you to the tutoring school
Okay.
where I can get paid to teach you chess.
And
I mean, if you pretend to be like a 5-year-old.
chess?
Yeah, I grew up playing chess.
Oh,
yeah, like
wow.
I'll handle the chess
Okay,
challenge.
great.
I won't say I'm a master. Like some of my friends played chess all day on chess.com against like a computer, against other online users, and they're like really in chess and like really good, I can hold my own, but I don't play chess that much as an adult, so I don't know like all the classic stratagems and things. But yeah.
But you're going to get us through.
Yeah.
And then the final trial, the potions, which I was very upset was cut out of the movie.
This
although
is one
I
of,
get
like 3 scenes cut out of the book.
I get that it would not be visually exciting, but I think I could get through that because
Do you
I'm
think
very
they
good
filmed it and just
No.
decided not to keep it? No.
I think they cut it.
You
but
could get
I'm
us
getting
through.
us through that because I'm really good at like riddles and puzzles.
Yeah. That one's great because I just love when Hermione gets to shine, which is basically every scene. But like you'll notice in the finales of each book, the first one, all 3 of them. The second one is just Harry and Ron. The third one is just Harry and Hermione. The fourth one is just Harry. The fifth one is all 3 of them again. The sixth one is just Harry. The seventh one is all 3. So it's like with 1, 2, 3, she's distributing like the important roles out to make sure everyone's equal, except Harry's obviously the most. Did that make sense? I feel like I'm running at a mile a minute because I just have so much to say. I'm actually impressing myself as I'm like, damn girl, like you know your stuff.
It did make sense. And then the final thing with the mirror to get the Sorcerer's Stone, I think I could get it because there's nothing I want less than to be immortal. So I would not want the stone for myself.
But here's something to counter you. Because agreed, like the idea of being immortal sounds like the greatest torture in the world. Not to say I want to die. I mean, obviously we all sometimes have our dark thoughts, but I will not kill myself. And it's important to say that as someone who has been around suicide. I think it's important to just say like, I'm never going to kill myself. Like I promise. And we all have dark thoughts sometimes, but the idea of immortality is an absolute nightmare.
It's horrific. I mean, I think that one of the only things that makes life bearable, and I don't mean this in like a...
No, but
like
I know what you're going to say, and it's not.
One of the only things that makes life bearable is knowing that it will end one day.
That's what makes life, is knowing that it's just one time. But what I will say regarding the Sorcerer's Stone is it's not like you take a little bit and suddenly you're immortal forever. It's like, because Nicholas Flamel has enough elixir to last and sort out his affairs, you'll recall. So it's like you could just take it, and also I'm pretty sure it's youth. So it's like if you took it, it would just be like as long as you're taking it, you're gonna stay the age that you are. Which
I don't know, but I want to get older. Like I like
same.
The older I get, the more I'm like, it's a good thing that we age.
I don't think I'm quite on your level yet of fully being like, okay, like aging is amazing. I'm still a little scared of it, but I think I will get there in the next couple of years.
There's things about it I hate, obviously, like about like the ways that my body just is not the way that it used to be.
Yeah. Hangovers for me are...
Yeah. Well, I don't drink, but
Right.
the few times that I have in the past couple of years, it has completely destroyed me the next day.
Yeah, it's a problem. Like, basically, I mean, hangovers are a problem.
And also I've discovered recently that like reaching back to wipe my ass while I'm pooping the wrong way can like fuck
Crack
up
you.
my back.
Do you stand up to wipe ever? I often stand up to wipe my ass after pooping, and like it's weird of me, and sometimes poop falls on the ground. And
But,
poop
like,
fell on a
also-
rug recently.
But how can you wipe? Because like when you're standing, like your ass cheeks are going together.
I like dig in. Don't worry, I'm still like making sure to get clean, but I sometimes stand up and I'm like, why do I do that? I think because when I'm sitting down and it's so flared open, I'm like, this is too vulnerable. You know?
You just want to start poking around in there.
No, I just feel I'm like, holy shit, like there's my inner organs.
You know,
This is crazy what we're saying right now.
I used to be when I was a kid and like around the time that I was reading Harry Potter, I used to love reading on the toilet.
Well, you know that's going to cause hemorrhoids.
And I read the chapter in which Dobby dies while I was pooping, and I was sobbing on the toilet.
You were squeezing out a turd as you... Wait, you were reading the 7th one on the toilet?
Yeah.
As Dobby flickered and died from Bellatrix's knife. It's a knife one!
Sympathy is a Knife is about Dobby being
Dobby
killed by
should have
Bellatrix.
been on the remake. I mean, love to Ari, but... Actually, Ari would have... So, this is the first and last time I'll ever say this, but I've met Ariana a few times because she grew up with a dear friend of mine. She's since unfollowed me on Instagram, so don't worry. But I do happen to know that she's a huge Harry Potter fan. And Ari, if you're out there and this gets to you, like, I love you still.
I love you too.
And you're amazing, and I can't wait for Wicked.
Were you gagged that it was Quirrell?
So we get into the Mirror of Erised final chamber surrounded by torches. We learn that it wasn't Snape all along, like the dolls thought. It was Quirrell with a turban who unwraps the turban to reveal Voldemort's
Couldn't make
face.
that today.
No, the turban thing wouldn't work. Or, I mean, actually, I won't say what I was going to say. Was I gagged that it was Quirrell? Yeah.
Did you have any suspicions?
She planted, when you go back and reread it, obviously, like, it's planted throughout. But I don't think I knew that the first time. Also, I should note, like, I was really young. I think before I said I was 11, but I was probably even younger. I think I was, like, 8 when I started to be in Harry Potter land. And I was reading, but also at night, my mom and or my dad, not together, but separately, depending on whose house I was at, would read them to me. And that's, like, a really special memory to my sister Winnie and I. I forget why I bring that up. Oh, except to say, when I first heard it or read it, I forget if I think I probably read the book on my own first, and then they would read it again, just like as a way to help us fall asleep. But no, I didn't know it was Quirrell the first time, is what I'm trying to say. Did you?
No.
She's a brilliant story crafter where each book has a contained story that gags you, and then the 7 overall have a story that gags you.
The mysteries are very compelling.
Yes.
And very twisty.
She's got a perfect knack for mystery, for world building, for character building, for humor, for terror, for page turning, for specificity.
For transphobia.
For transphobia. She's got it all.
She does have it all.
That fucking monster.
So we've now reached the
Well, yeah, there's something that needs to be said that it was scary that we almost missed this. Hermione and Harry are huddled over Ron's corpse, which has been flagellated by the White Queen. And Hermione goes, "You're a great wizard, Harry." And Harry goes, "Not as good as you."
Oh,
And
this
Hermione
kills
goes,
me. This kills me. I'm getting chills.
I'm going to cry. She goes, "Me.
Books and cleverness.
There are
The more important things.
Friendship and bravery. And Harry, just be careful." Oh, I'm going to cry. And then the music goes, "Ba-da-dum." Wait, how does it go? I can't do it. I can't do it.
But it does make me cry.
Yeah, it's a tearjerker. She also nails tearjerkia because Harry defeats Quirrell, which, okay, here's one quick thing. When he touches Quirrell and Quirrell crumbles to stone, like, what? He doesn't pull that off again. No one
I think
does.
it only happened
It's
that
a
one
once
time.
in a history moment.
Well, and also the next time that he encounters Voldemort, they use his blood to bring Voldemort back. So Voldemort now has, like, Lily's protection in him.
I see. Because, well, still Harry has this sort of, like, what's the opposite of magnetic? Like when two poles are, when you try and put like two positive magnets together and there's like that force that won't let them, which, by the way, crazy, we live in a world where that exists. That's so cool.
Yeah, I don't know what that's called.
But like that kind of force that's basically a force field remains on Harry in the sense of like when Voldemort says Avada Kedavra and he says Expelliarmus and then like the Priori Incantatem.
Mm-hmm. But that's because of their wands.
OT.
It's because of the wand cores being from the same phoenix.
But so speaking of tearjerkery, I have a few. Yes, well done, Slytherin. But I have a few last-minute points to award.
Okay, but that pisses me off.
Sure.
Because
Go ahead.
imagine if you were in Slytherin, you've won the House Cup, and then at the final feast, the headmaster comes out with some clearly biased bullshit, giving the Gryffindors just enough
They were
to beat
150 points down.
and they get 160 points.
It's So to walk it through quickly to Miss Hermione Granger for cool use of intellect in outstanding danger, whatever. And then it's to Master Ronald Weasley for this best game of Quidditch these Hogwarts in these many years, and to Harry Potter. Oh no, it's their 160 points down,
Because
and
they each get 50.
well, Harry gets 60. Harry has to get his extra
Neville gets 10.
which like when Neville gets the final 10.
That another tearjerker.
Oh, that's when I started to wail. Holy fuck. And Neville's
gagged.
completely dumbstruck, and he's like, like he was fully like thinking about something else, and he's like, what's going on? Like, I would love to see a modern play that shows what Neville's next 2 hours after that moment. Like, do you think he like walks like a zombie out of that room and goes into like the bathroom and is like,
yeah, fully.
Yeah, so it's tear jerky, and then Harry and Hermione are having an encounter boarding the Hogwarts Express. God, there's so much we didn't even cover, like the Hogwarts Express, which I had the Legos of.
But we have 6 more books to get through.
That's true. So
And we're already at 2 hours.
So Hermione goes, feels strange to be going home. And Harry goes, I'm not going home. Not really. I saw this meme that's not even funny, but it just made me laugh for it. It's like Hermione goes, feels strange to be going home. Wait, what happens in it again? I sent it to you. Harry says something and Hermione's like, I was just trying to make conversation, you bitch.
Yeah. That is the long and short of it.
And then it closes on the Hogwarts Express sneaking away into the countryside and Hagrid's retreating figure walking back towards the castle. And it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it's one of the best movie experiences I've ever had.
Yeah.
I've watched the movie so many times. Actually, when this came out, I was in middle school, and this was the very early 2000s. We didn't have DVDs yet. We didn't have...
It was like that?
Yeah.
Wait, what came before DVDs?
VHS.
Oh, fuck.
Or there were DVDs, but they
times.
hadn't become ubiquitous yet. So after the first movie came out, I went to New York.
By the way, Blu-ray was bullshit. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I went to New York on a school trip and bought a bootleg copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And for those of you who are maybe too young to remember this, bootleg movies were when people would go into the movie theater with a camera and film the movie. So you could see people getting up in the audience. And,
what? Oh, that kind of adds something. Okay, but why were people getting up? Pee before the film, bitch.
Yeah.
You're not gonna want to miss a scene.
So I had that VHS. It was horrible quality, but I wore it out until I eventually owned my own copy
it
of
started
the movie.
to just thin out from so many.
I just watched it all the time.
It was a bootleg VHS or DVD?
VHS.
Damn, girl. Okay, so that's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, but don't think we're quite finished yet because there's still a few things to say. We never even addressed screenplay by Steve Kloves, directed by Chris Columbus, who I just want to note, I was looking at Chris Columbus's Wikipedia today. He also directed Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Mrs. Doubtfire, among other titles. Isn't that kind of a really crazy career span?
Yeah. Hits only.
And then Oscars-wise, this movie was actually nominated for 3. Do you know what they are?
I'm guessing visual effects?
No.
Costumes?
Yes.
Sound?
No. But close.
Adapted screenplay?
No.
Oh.
We wish. I mean, it should.
Yeah.
Original score, art direction, and costumes. Score.
John Williams put his whole pussy into this score.
Wait, it didn't win that? I have to know what beat it. So this movie came out in 2001, is that correct?
Yeah.
Sorcerer's Stone. So let's just see. 2001. So the 2002 original score. While I'm looking this up, which class would you teach?
Maybe Transfiguration.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which house would you be in?
Have you taken the Pottermore?
I have.
Sorry, I'm distracting myself, but I have here the nominees. It doesn't say the winner, though. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for score. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Oh, they both came out this year. A Beautiful Mind, Monsters, Inc., and AI, Artificial Intelligence, which is also John Williams. Now let's see who won. Lord of the Rings. Okay.
Period.
But actually, I love the Lord of the Rings score. I love the Lord of the Rings movies, but I choose Harry Potter, and the score of Harry Potter is more iconic than the score of Lord of the Rings. I can't even
disagree.
call it for you at the moment.
We're just going to have to agree to disagree.
Okay, well, you can come back on for Fellowship of the Ring, and we can sort out our priorities then. We can work it out on the remakes. Anyway.
So what class would you teach and what house would you be in?
Okay, I mean, Transfiguration is amazing. Maybe I would do Charms, though. I'd be a cute little, like, pixie-like Charms teacher, I think. And house-wise, I've taken Pottermore and gotten both Gryffindor and Slytherin. If I were to take it now, I think I'd be a Gryffindor. Or a Ravenclaw.
I've gotten Ravenclaw before from Pottermore, and I've gotten Slytherin. And most quizzes, I've gotten Slytherin. And I do self-identify as a Slytherin.
I self-identify as a Gryffindor, but also it's like, I would be like Harry, like sitting under the Sorting Hat and be like, please not Slytherin. Like, they're common rooms in a murky dungeon, and they're all like Nazis.
But they're not all Nazis.
Take it out of the context of these 7 years. Like, yeah, they're not all Nazis.
Slytherin is sickening. And when I played the Harry Potter game, I was in Slytherin. But I also could see myself in Ravenclaw.
I know, same. And they have a really cool common room that you don't get to meet until the 7th book at the end. Although I will say this, you have to solve a riddle to enter it every time. Like, what if you can't get the riddle?
What if you're in a rush?
Yeah. Exactly. Like, that would suck. That would really suck. Think about it. Like,
yeah.
You can't get
it would
into
really suck. It would really suck.
Like, I know Ravenclaws are clever and all, but like Hermione's in Gryffindor, and she's smarter than any Ravenclaw I know.
Yeah. She's top of her class. Brightest witch of her age.
Totally. Obviously you're gonna come back on for another of the 7 to 8 episodes we do on Harry Potter. I'll probably have a few other guests in the rotation as well, but just since we might not hear from you immediately again, from the whole franchise, who are you sucking? And do you want to do like Sun, Moon, Rising?
Sure.
Okay.
From the whole franchise, I'm sucking Voldemort. I'm sucking Sirius Black.
Okay.
I'm sucking Mad-Eye Moody.
Who is in Joker Folie à Deux.
I'm sucking Tonks.
Okay, so I have a whole Tonks thing where I'm pissed that she doesn't have the spiky hair on the cover of the book jacket in the movie.
Yes.
Do you catch my drift?
Yes.
Yeah. Who else you sucking?
I'm sucking Lucius Malfoy.
Don't steal mine. Lucius is my number one suck from the films.
Number one suck is Madame Maxine, the headmistress of Beauxbaton.
Oh, yeah.
The giantess.
I'd suck Karkaroff while we're here. Igor Karkaroff.
Oh, yeah. Victor Crumb.
Yeah. Of course.
And then Sun, Moon, Rising. Who am I choosing between?
Everyone.
Everyone?
Because I feel like by the time you're back, the second one I'll probably go to someone else just to get another voice. So maybe you'll be back for the third, but also maybe my mom will do the third because it's like our favorite movie.
Okay.
So you might not be back till the fourth.
Okay.
So let's just get...
Okay. In the entire series, I guess
Unless you should just do all of them. It does seem like a natural fit.
It does.
We'll think about it.
It's a lot. It is a big time commitment.
Although we're both fully just doing the audiobooks now, and we could just make this into a marathon.
Okay. Hermione's in there somewhere, so I'm gonna say I'm maybe a Hermione Moon.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I'm
gonna end up copying all your shit.
Hermione Moon,
I'm a Hermione Moon too. I'm sorry. Like,
Okay,
I'm
that's
just gonna
fine.
say that. And I'm a. Honestly, I'm kind of like a Rita Skeeter rising,
Okay.
and I'm
Maybe a Dumbledore rising.
okay. And I'm sort of like a Moaning Myrtle Sun.
That's good. I think I'm
That actually really tracks. Yikes.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm maybe a McGonagall son?
Yeah.
No, or maybe Professor Trelawney's son.
I also low key have a bit of a Luna sun if I'm T.
Same.
Like we're lunar. We kind of float that.
There's
way.
no Ginny anywhere in my chart.
No, and I have run into Bonnie Hunt, or what's her name?
Bunny Wright.
Yeah, not Bonnie
Right?
Hunt. That's the mom
Is
from
it?
Cheaper by the Dozen. Bonnie Wright, I have run into on the sidewalk of the West Village, and she looked like she was on her way from her office job. No shade, but of all the child cast, everyone basically holds up except for her acting wise. Sorry, I know she's heard it.
face wise.
Damn, so we're gonna clock T in that way.
Yeah.
My most suckable would be Lucius. I would suck Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Beat you to it. I would suck Rufus Scrimgeour.
I would Rufus his Scrimgeour.
I would suck Fenrir Greyback.
He's like a child molester.
No, he's just like a cannibal.
No, but he like specifically goes and bites children.
Oh, fuck.
It's
Okay,
like-
you know what? Let me take his cock out of my mouth and say no thank you anymore. Would you suck? Here's just the big question. And I need to save this shit for the other episodes, but I just have to know. Would you suck Grop?
I knew you were gonna say that. And yes, I would. I would be like hanging off of it, like by my hands.
Oh, I forgot one more thing. I would suck Firenze. Or in Jim
Oh,
Dale's
duh.
words, Farenzi.
No, he was, when we were watching the movie, he's the most suckable person.
When he first shows up in the movie, I'm a little like, you look weird. And then we get closer and I'm like, oh, wait, you're actually T. This is kind of like my
My body's T.
I can't say this on camera. But there's someone like that in my life.
Who? Oh, right.
I'll babble that. Okay, so Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or as it's known in some circles, the Philosopher's Stone. Anything else we need to say? Like, we didn't talk about Professor Flitwick, Wingardium Leviosa.
It's Leviosa, not
No,
Leviosa.
Honestly, it's no wonder she hasn't got any friends.
I think we said the important
she
things
did.
that needed to be said. I mean, there's so much that's been said about this already.
I know, and yet
yet.
can't seem to let go. Like, are you noticing my hand white knuckled around? Like, I don't want it to be over.
Do you consider these Halloween movies or Christmas movies?
Okay, gut impulse is to say neither. These are year-round classics that don't need to be tied to a holiday. But then both, because they are both spooky and heartwarmingly Christmassy. And if I had to pick, Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
And would you, because my family rewatches them all when we're together at Christmas. We're not together at Halloween, which if we were, we would. So that's why it's like, it's a little bit circumstantial.
Mm-hmm.
You said while we were watching that you would rather be at Hogwarts on Christmas than Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And ultimately, yeah, but it's like, that's a way harder question that deserves more deliberation over an answer than we're giving it credit. Because like Halloween at Hogwarts, and I like Christmas more than Halloween. I'm not even like, Halloween's my favorite holiday. But that would be fun with the floating pumpkins.
And the troll.
Troll in the dungeon.
Would you suck the troll?
Oh, you ought to know. You know the answer. How do you think I woke up when I was born? The troll's cock. Oh, that doesn't work.
That does. I don't know where you were going with that.
Holy fuck, there's some twisted shit that we've said.
Yeah.
I don't feel like babbling it out, though.
I don't think you should.
When we do these normal episodes, we revisit the question of the 8 at the end and see if the conversation itself has changed you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would prefer to do it through the Harry Potion lens of the 8 that we concocted, which, as a refresher, is Dumbledore is Carrie, Malfoy is Marnie, Ron is Shosh,
Hermione is
Hermione
Miranda?
is Miranda. We can do this. This is 4. And then Charlotte was
Snape.
Let's say that. We still need
Samantha is Rita
Skeeter.
Skeeter.
Okay, so then we need Jessa and Hannah.
Oh no, Jessa was Snape.
Jessa, Snape. Okay, so then we need Charlotte and Harry is Charlotte. Right?
Yeah.
Harry, Charlotte, and Jessa is
Snape.
Okay, right. Oh yeah, okay. So we got it. And that's only 7. Who are we missing? Fuck me. It's too hard. We did Charlotte, Miranda, Carrie, Samantha, Jessa, Hannah, Marnie, Shosh. Whatever. Like, basically, I don't know. Who are you?
Okay, I now, after this conversation, am Carrie. I'm Dumbledore
So am I.
/ Carrie.
So am I. Like, that discovery of that cosmic connection.
It kind of changed everything.
I want to go do like some doodle illustrations of like Sarah Jessica Parker as Dumbledore and then like send them to her on DM and be like, can you post these? No, that's not what I would do.
Can you send them to me?
I'll send them to you and then we'll figure out what fanfic that can be.
Okay, great.
Oh, we should write fanfic where like Dumbledore discovers he's a woman and decides to move to New York City and takes like a de-aging spell and is
and
Carrie.
writes a sex column.
Yeah, and it's like Sex in the City exactly, except fully undercover. Carrie is Dumbledore.
That's great. I'd watch that movie.
I'd watch that too. Well, and then our other thing that we're doing is the Esme Squalor backstory.
Yes.
Okay.
Knife heels.
Is the
Squalor.
knife one? Okay, closing remarks. Closing remark for me is I have Snape's monologue going from here. As such, I don't expect many of you to enjoy the advanced art of potion making. However, for those select few who possess the predisposition, I can teach you how to bottle, flame, brew, glory, even put a stopper in death. Okay, I'll stop. But that's my closing remark, I guess.
Mine is my body's tea.
Okay, well, that's a wrap then. We love you, Babbles.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you, Rose.
I'm gonna talk about all the things that I wanna talk about. We'll just keep talking. We'll just keep talking. Just keep talking. For so long. Ow, we're babbling on. We're babbling on.
Babbling On is created, produced, and edited by Hilton Dresden. The theme song is by Benny Coltoletta, featuring Callie Baker, and is produced by Benny Coltoletta and Jack Grouse. The artwork is by Hilton Dresden. Audio consultation from Kenzie Woodrow and Dallas Seeker. Special thanks to Alec Cohen, Natalie Rotter-Waitman, Molly Montgomery, Nick Krause, and to everyone who has subscribed to Babbling On the Substack and refused to shut the fuck up.